Oh, here we go. Greetings to the 21.9 thousand grimdark enjoyers of my channel, and welcome to a very exciting video. The remaining members of the Phoenix Force have been acquired. But you may be asking, what is the Phoenix Force? Well, the Phoenix Force is the moniker I've given to the endgame of the Basalt Biel-Tan Army project.
There was an idea.
The concept of fielding all of the boots-on-the-ground Phoenix Lords and their aspect squads, to create a list so thematically pure, so joy-sparking, a list that doesn't care about competitive play, and just oozes with how epic it is. That is the Phoenix Force. So far, 4 of the Phoenix Force have been assembled. Janezar of the Howling Banshees, Irilith of the Shadow Specters, Maugan Ra of the Dark Reapers, and Oserman of the Dire Avengers. But now the call has been made to the remaining 4. It's time to assemble. Here we have the Shadowhunter Prime, which will serve as the Phoenix Force's Karandris. This kit has 2 primary options, the standard pincer arm, and an arm holding a dangling guardsman. I'll be magging these options, as sometimes you want to lean into the boogeyman aesthetic. Compared to the other sculpts which will follow this one, you can tell this one is a bit older, but that's not to say it's bad. I like the low stalker crouching pose, and the rock basing feature, which should fit right in with the Basalt Biel-Tan basing scheme. And here he is, one Predator, one Karandris, one Shadowhunter Prime. Next up are the Hawks, a squad of Artel's darting Ospreys. For this unit I'll be going with the unhelmeted heads, as I think there are some really great faces here. Because this is a unit of 6, and GW's new Aspect Warrior paradigm seems to be baking in the Exarchs into the units, now as squad leaders, the 6th man in this unit, or rather lady, will be kept aside to become an epic Wayleaper Autarch in the future. And here she is, one very swift, hawk-like Aspect Warrior squad leader. Following that, we have the Darting Osprey Prime, which will serve as the Phoenix Force's Baharoth. The 2 options here are tied to his base, a defeated Chaos Space Marine and a Windgust. Between those 2, I'm opting for the slain Chaos Space Marine, as I think it would be very fun to paint up an epic bearer of the word, even if he is defeated. Plus, I have no idea how one would go about painting wind. And come to think of it, this style of partial-bodied basing elements might look better partially submerged in the shallow water rather than partially buried on land. And here he is, a winged hero who looks worthy of the Phoenix Lord title. Next we have a fiery aspect that I like to refer to as
Flaming Dragon!
Okay, Flaming Dragon.
a squad of Artel's Flaming Drakes. Here I'm putting together the squad leader. He's got a great pose and a neat slagged basing detail. I've opted for the Fire Pike style weapon option, and I really dig the bonus details on this guy. What I presume to be spare fusion cells look very cool. And here this guy is, ready to turn mechs and monsters to slag. I've added in a 3D printed back banner by rigging a few accessories together. You guys know I like banners, and on Exarchs, it helps give the squad a classic feel. Following that, we have the Flaming Drakes Prime, which will serve as the Phoenix Force's Fugin. There are no options on this one, just an epic sculpt. First is the demon basing element, and then the man himself. And holy shit, this is absolutely epic. I've got a hunch it's gonna look stellar with this demon submerged in water, suggesting the idea that this hero leapt from the basalt cliffs onto this demon's back. And lastly, here are a squad of Spectral Spinners. I've opted to not demo build the squad leader, mainly because the squad leader would be more similar to what's to follow. Plus I really dig the superhero landing pose of this gal. And here's the squad looking real good. Here's the squad leader for those curious. And of course, this can only be followed by the Spectral Spinner Prime, which will serve as the Phoenix Force's Warp Spider's Phoenix Lord. There are 2 basing options and war gear options here. For the base, the choice is between an exploding warp portal or a pillar. Obviously, the exploding warp portal is the right choice. This is probably the most interesting model of all. Visually, it certainly does have that wow factor, but from a rules point of view, there isn't anything official from GW regarding the Warp Spider's Phoenix Lord. As far as I'm aware, there is nothing in canon defining the Warp Spider's Phoenix Lord's details, other than that they exist. Since this affords some creative liberty, I've opted for the female torso. This way, Jane Zar isn't the only female member of the Phoenix Force. Regarding the 2 weapon options for this Spectral Spinner Prime, the choices are 2 Death Spinner type arms, or a kind of Eldritch Tentacle style weapon. I've decided to do a bit of magging here. Phoenix Lords often have some unique gear, and I figured the tentacles could easily represent whatever that could end up being. After a bit of a think, I decided I wanted the Exploding Marine to be a bit more heretical, so I opted for a helmet swap on this part here, which only required a bit of cutting, allowing me to replace the default helmet with the spare Chaos Space Marine one. And after affixing her onto her base, oh wow, what a sculpt. Given the complexity of what's going on here, I'm not gluing her in at this stage, as I want full freedom when it comes to painting this beauty. And with all those models built, the painting phase begins. Well, that's a wrap on this one. If you enjoyed this video, there are buttons for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks for watching. And a big thanks to Artel for sending me these models, which certainly made it easier to help realize the Phoenix Force project. All these miniatures have excellent sculpt quality and demonstrate strong artistry. And I do have an Artel affiliate link, which you can find in the description. So if you're planning to scoop up any Artel miniatures, use my link to go to their shop, and I'll get a small kickback. It's an easy way to support the channel, and it costs you nothing. On that note, a special thanks to Julius Maximus, as well as my other generous patrons and channel members. You guys are the real heroes. Recently I've started doing hobby livestreams, and you can bet a Phoenix Force arc will inevitably begin. So if chill hobby jams are your thing, join in, and let's get those projects done. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.